If you want life to run smoother, you need a system that thinks for you. Because I used to be stuck, burned out, and overwhelmed until I built a machine brain that thinks for me. It adapts, it reroutes, so it keeps going even when I don't feel like it. And after months of managing college and content creation, I can verify it works. There's 3 core modules that make this thing run: the command launch, the failsafe, and the uplink. 3 parts, 1 system perfectly designed to think for you. Let's get into module 1, command launch, because most people lose their day in the first 10 minutes. Not because they're lazy, but because their system assumes they'll wake up motivated. But mine's realistic. It assumes I'm gonna wake up lazy, tired, and reaching for my phone. So instead of relying on morning motivation or discipline, command launch removes the need for it entirely. It allows you to cheat the start line and still win the race. Let's break down the psychology behind why it works. The brain's first priority after waking up isn't always clarity, it's usually a reward. If you could feel a quick win, your brain locks onto that loop and starts chasing it more. That's why 99% of people roll over and instantly check their notifications. Your phone becomes the quickest hit of dopamine you can get. But the command launch rewires that type of thinking by rewarding output, not input. It allows you to start your day with control, not chaos. But let's put the technical goggles on so we can apply this to your daily life. This is how you build the command launch into your system step by step. Step 1, default to output. Before anything else, text, notifications, or emails, I do a task so easy, even my half asleep brain says yes. This could be as simple as tracking in my fitness app what I ate for the morning. A way I physically launch is setting my phone away from me when I go to bed. It forces me to wake up in the morning and instantly get to moving to turn off my alarm. That gives me my morning dopamine hit, not from consuming, but from doing. Step 2, build a morning that rewards creation. Your brain repeats what feels rewarding. It's how it determines what you should continue doing. So I front load my morning with small creative wins, like writing the hook for this video or strumming my guitar for 10 minutes. It trains my brain to associate output with satisfaction. But your creative win doesn't have to be deep. It could just be reviewing a flashcard set or working on a slide deck for a client. As long as you start creating, not consuming in the morning, you're rewiring that brain's loop. Step number 3, lock in the cue. You want your brain to learn that it needs to expect motion in the mornings. I use a trick called habit chaining, which is pairing something automatic to something intentional. I align my intentional tasks, like strumming the guitar in the morning, with something automatic, like brushing my teeth. Instead of you relying on morning motivation, you're piggybacking off the momentum of something you already do. And if you run this loop continuously, your brain stops asking, should I, and it just starts doing. And over time, that becomes the new autopilot, which is the real goal with the command launch. But command launch only really gets you started. The real challenge is not letting everything fall apart when life gets messy. You can have the perfect routine, but if one bad day ruins it all, you don't have a system, you have a fantasy. That's where module 2, failsafe, comes in. It's how you build trust with yourself, especially when things start to go sideways. If this is helping so far, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'm almost at 1,000, which is my end of the year goal already. It's crazy how much support I've been getting on my videos, so thank you for watching. Later in this video, I'm gonna show you how to grow with clarity and make sure every single move you're making is actually working. But first, we need to lock in some core principles to make sure your habits are unbreakable even on the worst days. James Clear said it best in Atomic Habits: you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Failsafe principle number 1, make it impossible to break the chain. At the core of Atomic Habits is this: you don't change by setting goals. You change by switching your identity. Each habit you choose every single day is a vote for the person you are becoming. So if you only show up on perfect days, you're putting a vote for inconsistency. The failsafe principle number 1 flips that. I built my habits around the minimum viable version. That's just a fancy way to say I take the big habit and I break it down into the smallest possible piece I could complete. So instead of complete an entire workout, my goal is to just walk in and do 1 set. From there, I'm hoping the momentum will carry me all the way through. But if it doesn't, those micro wins still count towards the vote of who I want to become. And when you stack them day after day, you don't just become consistent, you become unbreakable. Failsafe principle number 2, shape the path of the least resistance. James Clear says the environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. Failure doesn't just come from a lack of motivation, it comes from a poorly designed environment. My environment is built to make good choices absolutely automatic. My guitar isn't in a case underneath my bed. It's in a stand over there, so as soon as I want to play, I can just get up from my desk and immediately start playing. I leave my workout clothes out the night before, so there's less friction for me getting into the gym. If you design your environment right, you're gonna default to progress instead of hesitation. But I can't lie, sometimes everything will break at once. Failsafe principle number 3 addresses that with the chaos protocol. Here's how it works. Instead of shrinking the habit down even more, you just switch the channel. If I can't write, I'll talk through an idea on a voice memo. If I can't work out, I'll just go for a 10-minute walk. Rather than it being a minimum viable version, this is just me changing the channel of what exactly I'm doing. So even when my main system is completely out of whack and my life has just fallen off the wagon, I can still cast a vote for who I want to become. This isn't about doing less, it's about doing something. So when life punches through your schedule, you don't quit. You just flip the switch and change the path. But what happens when the game changes? New goals, new situations, and bigger stakes. If your system can't evolve, it's eventually going to fail, just a little slower. That's why Module 3 is the Uplink. It's the control tower where data comes in, decisions go out, and the system upgrades itself. Part 1 is the system sync. Once a week, I run a simple check, not just to feel better, but to think about things smarter. What broke this week? What wasted my time? And did I feel any friction in the system? That's the signal telling me if anything's worth noting. I'm not just journaling here, I'm debugging everything I'm doing. If something breaks twice, it's time to flag it. Because if I don't review the breakpoints, I'm gonna keep running the same code expecting different results. The system sync is where you stop just being a user and you become an engineer. But when you find those breakpoints, you need to patch them super fast. That's the second part of Uplink. Protocol upgrade. Treat your system like a software. It's not one fixed thing. There's always room for improvement. If your output starts to drop, redefine a queue or change what you're doing. You can't rely on a once a quarter or a once a year reset. This needs to be something you review daily. From classes to clients, from 5 tasks a day to 50. If your system can always adapt, it will always scale. But there's one more Uplink protocol that matters, the output trace. Because systems are only real if they're helping you produce something. What did I build? What moved and what improved? Scripts, videos, study hours, projects. I track things that I do, not just my intentions to do them. I need concrete evidence that what I'm doing is actually producing something meaningful for me. It isn't about feeling productive, it's about having proof of what you're doing. It's like taking fitness progress pictures in the gym. As you see yourself grow and change, you know you're doing the right thing. If you're staying relatively stable, you're doing something wrong. If command launch gets the system moving and failsafe makes sure it never breaks, then Uplink helps you grow with clarity and how you make damn sure your life is running as it's supposed to. Now, if this system helped you run life smoother, wait until you see how I rewired my entire attention span. Because the truth is, I didn't beat the scrolling addiction with discipline, I replaced it with something smarter. So make sure to check that video out on one of these sites. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.